Business over drinks. Business over drinks. This is Dave and Terng. This is business over drinks.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Business Over Drinks. My name is Terng and I'm calling in from Singapore.
Hello. My name is David. I'm calling in from Brisbane. And today, yes, it's daytime here in Brisbane. This is probably the earliest we've ever recorded a podcast. We have a very, very special, very inspiring guest. Her name is Arianne Sackville. So before I let her speak, I'll do a quick intro. So basically, Arianne is an innovative and game-changing founder and director of pet food brand Bell & Bone. At the age of 30, Arianne independently launched Bell & Bone as a result of her frustration with the commercial pet food products available on the market. She sought not only to enter the industry, but to revolutionize it with purposeful food, clear messaging, and a transparent ingredient list in a fairly unregulated market. So engaging a pet nutritionist and food technologist in 2018, Arianne developed her first line of dog food products called Superfood Dog Treats, using superfood, all-natural, human-grade ingredients such as flaxseed, turmeric, chia, carob, coconut, and ginger, which at the time was an Australian first and has now paved the way for others to follow. She's since launched 2 new product lines that have been game changers for the premium pet food industry: dried raw treats and healthy dental sticks, both full of superfoods, functional benefit, and using natural ingredients. But only after 2 years and 3 new product lines, Bell & Bone is now available in 250 stores across Australia, including PETstock nationally, and is launched into Asian markets in Hong Kong, Macau, Singapore, and Thailand. Arianne believes all dogs should have access to healthy food and has partners with RSPCA Victoria, where she has donated tens of thousands of dollars of food to the shelter, including ongoing support through business profits. So starting at 30, once again, I feel incompetent with our guests. So welcome. How you doing,
Thank you so much. I am good after listening to that positive review. No, thank you so much for having me.
So what are you drinking today?
I have a kombucha. Didn't want to stuff up what I was talking about, so kept it light. But it is my favorite flavor. It's blueberry. So very on trend with the healthy dog food, healthy human to go with it.
There you go. I'm having a Western Australian wine called, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing this properly, Bibliotheque.
Bibliotheque.
Bibliotheque?
That's Spanish for library, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Something like that, I don't know.
I'm very uncultured. Is uncultured even a word? Anyway, cheers to that. What are you having, Tone?
Yes.
I'm having Rosemount. It's also Australian, oddly enough. Rosemount Shiraz. So it's quite nice.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah. It's good. It's in
Singapore.
It's 3 p.m. in Singapore, so this is my afternoon. It's 3 p.m. on a Tuesday in Singapore. I've got a client meeting in a couple hours, so it's gonna be great.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, I do this unfortunately quite a lot, so I'm gonna try and stay I'm gonna drink lightly. So anyway, Arianne, thanks and welcome to the podcast. You're gonna see, I would say, professionalism at its worst on this podcast, because we're gonna do some really weird stuff. Dave and I tend to laugh at each other quite a lot during this podcast as well, so just be warned and try not to look too confused when we start laughing at each other.
At least pretend to laugh at Tony's jokes.
Yeah, that's true.
Just cue me in and I'll start laughing.
I'll send you a note. Dave, do you want to start the questions, man?
Yeah, by the way, if you guys hear some chewing and moving around, that's because my puppy is here. I thought it'd be very relevant that she's here while we speak to Arianne. But anyway, I thought I'd just start off by asking you, how did it all start? So you started at 30 years old. You were working for some pretty large companies. How did the journey even begin?
Well, I guess I've always been in food some way or another. I did start in a big corporate company selling lots of different food products within, the grocery channels and independent channels. And I guess I fell in love with the whole FMCG industry. I loved everything about marketing and selling and food and, you know, building customer relationship up, but I didn't think I was right for corporate. So it was the only thing that was missing. I really loved my job, but felt that I was better suited to do my own thing. And that really became apparent to me when I started to learn more about taking care of my dogs. And that started with family dogs and then moved into my own dog. I was always interested in reading the back of pack of ingredients, and it really sparked some concerns for me because so many brands sell and market food that I don't deem to be healthy, which made me question whether it was or not. And I guess that not being able to understand the back of pack on so many different brands, having to Google ingredients or question, you know, is wheat or corn an appropriate first or second ingredient, it really got my head ticking and made me realize that this was something that I had to do for my dogs, but also for other owners as well. And I guess having such a strong connection to what I do has been so amazing for the brand because I really relate to so many different customers that I have. I mean, I didn't just say, well, I've got this problem, I'm going to create a brand. I went and reached and asked other dog owners, you know, do you have issues with the food that you're feeding your dog? And it turned out that so many dog owners really struggled to trust what was out there on the shelf and wanted alternatives. And we have really based our business on providing healthier alternatives to products that your dogs love and being able to provide a purpose and transparency to the product ranges that we create to give owners comfort in what they feed their pets.
Okay, no, that's really fascinating. One thing I did want to check with you is because I think a lot of people want to take that entrepreneurial step, right? You know, start their own business and everything, but there's a lot of misconceptions. There's a lot of information out there that maybe it's not too relevant, right? But as someone who's actually done it, you went from corporate to entrepreneurship, I would say maybe not seamlessly, but you did it really well. What were some of the misconceptions you had about it before you started? And what were some of the things that, you know, you can share that you think is applicable across multiple different industries and verticals?
I think knowing your finances is probably crucial. That was that was the scariest part. And I'll tell you what, 2 years later, that is still the scariest part. It's very comforting having your paycheck come in on the 15th of every month without question. And when that goes, it's a rude awakening. So I would recommend perhaps to do 2 jobs at once, being your everyday job and then planning for your startup perhaps on weekends or at night, because you want to, once you get your feet into the water, you want to make sure that you can sustain it. So many businesses fail due to cash flow problems, and it is a massive challenge. And I still, you know, find that to be a big challenge every single day. I guess growing rapidly, which the brand has, creates many problems every single day, because growing and declining are the biggest problems for cash flow. And when you're a startup, you have no option but to grow. So knowing your finances, saving up, being prepared for the challenge mentally, financially, etc., I would highly recommend. Although that's not such a fun topic, it probably is the most serious that I can suggest to get your head around before any business. On the other hand, is to have your idea, validate your idea, and just go for it if you can see an opportunity. But validating your idea isn't just asking your best mate and your mum if they think your idea is going to be, you know, a multi-million-dollar business. It's about really getting out there and asking real people in your target market, defining your target market first, and then going out there and asking people to try or even to buy your idea at that time. So whether you've got a prototype, you know, try and make some money out of it and see what people's hesitations are, why they would or wouldn't buy. And once you can validate what you're doing and you realize that there's a gap and an opportunity, go hard or go home. Go hard or go back to corporate, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's some good points. Did you learn those points the hard way, or did you wait until you had some money saved up, or do you just go all in and kind of go gangbusters? And
did you scream YOLO if we did everything, or was it a small plan?
And just walk out of the office?
Well, no, I did my, you know, day job and then worked at night, and then worked my business at night and weekends. I then went part-time in another job, which helped me really get my teeth stuck into it. And then only when I physically could not do both at the same time, I took the very scary leap. And it was really scary, but it was so necessary. I'm so glad that I finally got to do it. And I mean, it's still hard, but it's definitely paying off, and the business is great.
I think maybe that's something that people tend to forget as well. Sorry to cut you off, Dave, but like one thing that people tend to forget is the fact that it's a ton of hard work that you need to do. And if you are starting a business yourself, having 2 jobs is really normal. It's not a sacrifice you have to make. It's just something that you kind of have to do most of the time. I did the same thing. Like that's a very similar story to my path as well. Like I was in a job that where I worked basically lunchtime and after work and on weekends, setting up my business. So yeah, I validated it plus set up my business and got my first cash then.
I guess the thing is that, you know, just because you've got 2 jobs, because, you know, you're getting paid by 2 different companies, that never changes when you're in a startup. Just because I'm full-time in my one job, my job consists of 10 different jobs. I'm sales and I'm marketing and I'm supply chain and I'm finance and I'm export manager. I'm everything, you know, I do the admin. So I didn't decrease the amount of jobs I had when I went full-time here. I inherited many others, and you learn to multitask, that's for sure.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you definitely do.
Speaking of quick interruption, quick promo break. Arianne is giving you 20% discount to all the products on her website. So we'll have the link to her website, Bell and Bone, on the show notes. But if you use the promo code DRIX20, you'll get 20% off. Try them out. She gave a sample for my puppy Lyra, and puppy loves them. Like, she couldn't get enough of them. So it's a quick promo for you there. But launching a product, because I launched just one product this year, was my book, Everyday Assholes. And that was a nightmare. That was so much work. How do you launch multiple Terng's laughing at how incompetent I am, but how do you launch multiple products from scratch? You were 30 years old. Had you run businesses before that, or have you mainly been in the corporate world?
I've worked in business development, account management, startups. You know, I've always had lots of jobs, so I like to keep busy. So I've had quite a broad range of experience with product and food and launching products. But launching products is so hard. I mean, there's so much work that goes into it, and no matter how organized you ever are, there's always something that goes wrong. Like, that's just the rule of launching a product. So as an example, I launched products in March, and 6 days later we got put into lockdown. So there's always a problem, no matter what you do in launching a product.
But let's say you're starting from scratch and looking back on it now, what do you think, what should you, because as you said, there's a million things you could be doing. What should you prioritize as someone who's just starting off? And
this is a personal one-on-one session for Dave to find out how to do, how to better run his own business.
No. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to prioritize. You obviously have to check off lots of boxes when you're starting a business, particularly a product business. So I generally make a list, and it might be creative, bags, product, all sorts of different supply questions, and make sure that I've got them ticked off, and then marketing, customers, everything else. You really have to make a list of what's relevant to you and systematically check everything off, because there are so many pieces to any product launch, and if you're not organized, that's, I guess, the beginning of a hard time. But yeah, it's probably quite specific to each industry, but definitely I'm a list maker, so definitely go with the list again. I recommend it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, Dave doesn't do lists.
I do lists. Once in a while I do lists.
Yeah. No, that's fascinating, Arianne. So because when we were looking at we were doing a bit of research about you, and one thing that we saw was the fact that you're already in 250 locations right now. Your products are already in 250 locations, and like Dave just mentioned, you've expanded in Asia as well, Hong Kong, Singapore, where I live. So that's fascinating. I'm going to look out for your products. I don't have a pet right now, so I haven't really gone to the pet aisle. So forgive me if I haven't seen it, but I'm sure I will. Yeah. So
Terng's really into cats, by the way.
Yeah, I grew up with cats and dogs all the time. So thanks for completely throwing me off, Dave. So couple of things. So maybe you can share this story on how you were actually able to expand quite quickly. 250 stores and then international expansion into 3 or 4 different markets.
Within 2 years, right?
Yeah, it's quite difficult actually.
Yeah.
And then yeah, please.
Well, I guess it's quite a difficult industry, although it's been in such rapid growth for quite some time now, and particularly since COVID, it's grown even faster because people are spending more time at home and therefore want to have a pet to keep them company. However, the problem with the saturated market is that it is so competitive. Anyone wants to be in a growing, fast-moving space. They think, everyone's got pets, I'm going to make pet food, lots of money in it for me. But when lots of people have that idea, it makes it really hard to stand out. So I guess from my perspective and the brand's perspective, I was very sure to create a strong set of values that reflected not just my view, but my target market's view, and then I guess my extended target market's view. And keeping true to those values, no matter what, has allowed us to be different to many of the brands in the market. So as an example, one of my values is that all our food should have purpose. And in providing purpose, I have needed to work with experts to create something that is going to nutritionally provide a purpose to the dog. So by working with pet nutritionists and food technologists and vet scientists, I've been able to create products that are quite different to your every products. I have a value about community and giving back as much as I can, which has allowed me to partner with RSPCA Victoria. And people really relate to doing good for the community, which has helped us grow, but also true to my values as a person, a brand owner, and true to Bell and Bone, where we give back as much as we can to create a better, healthier community and support animals because they support me so much. So I guess it's about making sure who you are and what makes you different and special is really grounded in your core, and that will help you stand out. I mean, I put my face out there in the market. My customers know me personally, and that means, everyone from the buyers who make decisions about the hundreds of stores that I sell to the people who work in the stores and the people who shop for the products. They all know me when they purchase Bell and Bone. I sign my name on the back of the pack. And I think that really differentiates the brand from a big, I guess, faceless multinational company where people can trust in my messaging and relate to me as a dog owner and know that they're going to get the best when they choose Bell and Bone. So that's really helped us make our mark in such a short time. And no one can, I guess, be a me too on such strong values and points of difference, I think.
There's a million questions I want to ask from that, but quickly, is there any way that people can see your dog? Bluey, right? Any way they can see him online? Bluey?
Bluey.
Bluey. I was thinking Bluey, the cartoon series.
You were close. You can see him on our website, bellandbone.com.au, or our Instagram, which is Bell and Bone. He is definitely the star feature of the brand.
Oh, okay. That's him. Okay, cool.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay.
Yes.
Just on that, I was just curious. So I really want to see him, but how do you even know? Because I'm a recent pet owner myself, and there's so many options out there. You're right. How do you even know what's good food for a dog, right? Because what's good for humans isn't necessarily good for dogs, and vice versa. What should one look for in the supermarket when we're looking for good dog? Obviously, your products. But,
yes, obviously, but no, I guess it's a really real question. I was so confused as well buying my dog food for the first time. There are so many messages out there and everyone's pushing a different agenda. And I guess a real concern is that there's quite a big lack of regulation in what you're allowed to say because it's not for human consumption, it's for pet consumption. So the rules are different. And that is how the barriers of entry have been so low, which has created quite a bit of saturation. I don't claim to be the expert. I claim to work with experts, and I provide messages based on the facts that they give me and the research that they've been able to put into the food that I create. Obviously, I have my checklist and what I want to see in the products, and the products definitely reflect me and the brand, but I work with experts give that extra touch and that extra point of difference in everything we do. It's really confusing. And there's a lot of good brands and there's a lot of brands I don't trust. I recommend to owners to do your own research, to keep learning, to keep evolving with the trends, because your dogs are your children and you want to give them the best. Everyone does as an owner, but sometimes that is challenging. So do your own research and feel empowered to make good decisions for your pets.
Are there any things that people like pet owners should avoid when it comes to buying pet food or like nutritional items for their animals? Like anything like no need to name brands. I mean, I understand that might be sensitive, but if you want to, if you want to, you can. We are not sponsored by any pet food brands, so please go ahead.
Well, I mean, I would avoid rawhide.
There's in writing. There we go.
Yeah, that's a bit of a interesting one. Look, all of our products are grain-free, which is quite a controversial issue. There's a lot of brands that put grain in their products, such as wheat, and, you know, they use fillers as an example, such as corn.
Yeah.
It's quite a big issue because there's a big change towards raw and natural feeding. So we should mimic the way that dogs were fed or would eat out in the wild, such as meat and a bit of vegetable and a bit of herb and spice, let's say, and that would create their diet. But now there's very much science and formulation and processing put into pet food manufacturing, and using some of these carbohydrates and grains, I guess, has been the new way. So hence why I suggest do your own research rather than me imposing the way people should feed their dogs. We create a diet that reflects more a natural diet and I believe that dogs would eat if they were wild, which is where they came from. I don't want to slam what anyone else is doing. I'm suggesting you do your own research. That's the point I want to make.
So no rawhide, no grains, and we'll put a list of all the brands that have these ingredients in them,
and then attach them to your name.
Yeah,
yeah. Actually, okay. I fed Lara some corn the other day.
Well done, Dave.
I'm sorry, Lara.
You've hurt your dog.
I'm gonna have to apologize to her. All right.
Yeah. So, Arianne, so that's interesting, right? Because you were talking, you go the natural route, right? And one thing I've noticed quite, I mean, it's a natural wave right now. I think when it comes to food, when it comes to pet food, when it comes to even just like nutrition, protein. I mean, one of our recent guests, one of Dave's friends was actually Mat Stillone, who runs one of the largest natural and vegan protein supplement companies in Australia. They are the largest, right, Dave?
Oh, they're one of the big players in there.
Yeah.
And then he's all about good nutrition. He's all about being honest with your customers, and that's helped him be successful. But he genuinely cares about what people eat, which is you remind me a lot of his message and what he stands for.
Yeah, I think when you are genuine, it comes across differently, and people connect to it. And that's what people are looking for. They're looking for connection. It's really hard to choose the right food for your dog, as we established. So when people can connect with you and connect with the community that you are building, that contain like-minded owners who want the best for their dogs and who are prepared to do the work to give their dog the best, then I think people really resonate and gravitate towards what you're trying to put out there.
So let's get back to marketing, right? So in terms of what's helped you get the most yield, which may be useful for some people who are starting off or launching their own products, what channels has worked best for you? You know, has it been social media? Has it been the website? Or has most of your revenue come from direct sales to supermarkets? You know, what's worked best for you?
I think it's been a combination. I don't like to rely too heavily on one platform because I think that opens you up to risk. I like to work really hard in different areas. So we began mainly wholesale, and I would spend a lot of time in store with their marketing. So promotions and events in stores and training staff, whatever that might entail to set up a good wholesale account. But I guess with COVID, I have needed to shift that focus particularly. And although I've always focused on a strong online platform, I've started to focus even more during this time. And Instagram has been an amazing community. We have such great engagement on everything that we do. We give a lot back through competitions and giveaways and keep people interested with new ideas and different ways to use their treats, for example. And it's been a really great platform to build our community online. Over the last few months, our website's really grown in traffic and conversion as people are shopping more online rather than in store. And they're looking for brands that, I guess, portray potentially a new set of values, which for a lot of people recently has been shopping local and with the purpose of health and well-being. So yeah, I guess differentiating yourself and being across many platforms has been the strategy that's worked best for us, for sure.
Okay.
Do you want to tell us what your Instagram is for Bell and Bone?
It's Bell and Bone.
We'll link to that in the show notes.
Yeah, definitely. We'll link it out in the show notes.
Yes, please follow. We're almost at 10.
Oh, you can start adding links.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Yeah. No, we'll have Business Over Drinks will definitely follow you guys.
And if you want to see the product in action, so I'm not just saying it because you're a guest, but my puppy as a new pet owner, she genuinely loves it. I've tested a whole bunch of snacks with her, a bunch of treats. Sorry.
Oh, that's
and
a
she's
lie.
very
That's a
picky
lie.
with food.
That's a lie.
I have. I've tested a whole bunch of treats. She's not into yoga treats and stuff like that. But when I pull that,
dogs like healthy stuff, so we have to give them the healthy stuff, right?
yeah, if only kids were into healthy stuff like dogs are.
Yeah.
She gobbled it up and she went crazy. So if you look at my puppy's Instagram at Ultimate Shiba, you can see there's a photo of her just munching on it. So she genuinely likes your product. So yeah,
I'm so glad.
stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And we're getting paid a lot. No, we're not. Wish we were getting paid a lot for that. No. And I think we're coming close to the end, but I do have a question that I wanted to check with you. Is like, so what's next for Bell and Bone though? Is it more product launches? Are you looking at expansion? Because I know COVID-19 is kind of messing everybody's plans up at the moment, right? But as you mentioned, you're doing well. You're doing well during this period. So what's the plans for Bell and Bone?
I think more strategic product extensions. I have been really lucky with the success of the dental sticks, which has been my latest launch. So I really want to see that out and make a big difference, because 80% of dogs by age 3 will have gum or dental disease. And our products have been developed to really make a difference and work. So as I said, using experts to create products that are purposeful has been the best thing for us, and I want to continue to see that grow. Besides growing more products, the next thing is to grow distribution. I have only just touched the surface of where I want to be. I really want to change the lives of dogs around the world. It's not just specific to Australia. I want to see a global change, and I want to see transparency in ingredient lists, and I want to see purposeful and healthy food being put on the shelves. So whether that means that you can find Bell and Bone all around the world, or in some way I can inspire companies to make a change and stores to make a change to what they supply, I think that's what I want out of Bell and Bone, is a really big change towards health and well-being.
All right. If you are expanding in Asia, let me know. I can definitely connect you some people, or whomever I have in our network. Happy to connect you.
If you are living in Asia at the moment, do they just go to bellandbone.com.au to purchase products, or?
We only ship in Australia at the moment, but they can find it through some of my distribution partners in Asia. So there's a contact us page, and if you are interested, I'll put you in touch with the right person.
Okay, awesome.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. So go to the website. You can definitely let everybody know if you have any questions about it. If you're in Asia, if you're in Australia, it's pretty much everywhere. So everywhere that's important. If they don't have it yet, that's because they're just not smart enough.
And if you're shopping online, use a promo code. We'll put in the show notes, but it's Drinks20, DRINKS 20, and you'll get 20% off.
Arianne, any last words for us? Anything that you want to tell our listeners? Anything that you want to share? The floor is yours. We'll leave it open now before we do our usual outro, which is just a random rambling that Dave does.
Well, it's fine. Wow, that really put me on the spot.
What is the meaning of life?
Well, it depends who I'm talking to, right? I guess as a business owner, you know, business is hard and it's challenging and it's scary, but it's a lifestyle and it's happiness and it's satisfaction, for me at least. And if you're wondering whether or not you should do it or how you should do it, it's just about sometimes taking a big breath and working through things systematically, because if you've got something that is different and special and the market's calling out for it, then your time is now, and it's just about how you make it happen.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, thanks. That's really cool. Thanks, Arianne. Dave, do you want to take us out?
No, I just want to really thank you for your time and for the sample of products. They're great. I think I'm going to be a regular customer. So thanks again for your time. Once again, everyone, if you want to check out Bell and Bone, bellandbone.com.au, or on Instagram at Bell and Bone, or just check out the links in our show notes. That's it. And if you guys have any feedback on this episode, or if you want to follow us, we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search Business Over Drinks, or go to businessoverdrinks.com. I almost forgot.
Did you forget the name? I almost
forgot our own brand
podcast, mate.
Yeah. That's it, guys. Thank you so much. Once again, don't forget to subscribe, comment, do whatever. That's it. We're very lonely.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming, Arianne.